I'm Cherokee Ronnie, and you're watching the Jeep Stuff Talk Show. This is the show where we talk about Jeep things, stir the pot, and just get straight to the point about things. So today we're going to be talking about several different things. First off, we're going to be talking about this V8 Jeep that I found on YouTube and what struck the interest for this video. He actually put a, I forget, was it 80s or 90s model V8 Corvette motor into this Jeep Cherokee from Ohio. This thing is awesome. So we're going to go ahead and take a look, just look at some videos, and he's going to walk around it. It's an older video. You can find it on YouTube yourself, but I thought it was pretty interesting because the Jeep's in mint condition, and it just looks like an overall, nice build, and you would almost have to start with a perfect Cherokee to do this anyway, because I wouldn't put this much time or this much money in a Jeep Cherokee, if it was rusted out. So let's go ahead and take a look at this video and watch it.
Well, the special thing about this Jeep is,
this thing is
an 87 Corvette
legit rust-free, and it has so much power. It's just unreal. I would love to do this. I've seen people put carbureted motors in these before because they're easy to wire up. And if you stay tuned, we're going to be talking about some older Jeep Cherokees and about the swaps and stuff. But this is pretty awesome. This probably took some time, and he actually uses it. There's videos on his channel of him using this Jeep off-road, so he actually uses it too. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. I just like the way it sounds coming from a Cherokee. I never thought I'd hear a V8 rumble because, everybody knows they use 318s in the Grand Cherokee, and that was all cool and everything. But it's cool to see a V8 in a Cherokee. Now, what I like about this Jeep is, like he said, he's got I think it's a Dana 44 in the front. He beefed up the vehicle, okay? So this is not just something they did in their backyard, threw the motor in, and they're just running around and waiting for stuff to explode. He actually has some money into this Jeep. And like I said, you'd almost have to find a perfect, rust-free Jeep Cherokee to do this with. And it just fits right down in there. It just looks good. And if I'm not mistaken, I think this is an 80s model Jeep Cherokee by the grill. And this makes the swap a little bit easier, okay? So we're going to get into that here in a little bit. But if I might be wrong, but it does look like an older XJ. It don't look like a 90s model. It looks like the early 80s. Just the way it looks. Like I said, I'm not sure. There are still beautiful mint condition XJs out there that you can find like this today, but they're going to cost you a little bit to grab a hold of them because there's some older people out there that bought these things new and they're still driving them today. I'm talking old women and old men. They bought them when they're new and there's like 60,000 miles on it. I've seen a few out there that are still perfect. There's one that runs around here in Mannington, West Virginia. It's blue, still mint. It's an 80s model. It's just perfect, and they're never going to get rid of it because it's bulletproof, right? Especially for an old person. But we're going to be talking about the 2.8, the GM 2.8 that came in the Jeep Cherokees, the early 80s Jeep Cherokee. And you often hear, I got this Jeep Cherokee with the 2.8 in it, and I'm wanting to put the 4.0 in this Jeep. And today I'm going to be talking about that, why it's a bad idea to even do that. There's a lot of work involved in doing that. You're going to need a whole nother Jeep Cherokee. You're going to need a donor vehicle to do that swap, because you hear of different problems that different people run into just because Jeep experimented with things and the shape of things and stuff like that. So every Jeep Cherokee isn't the same. Just because it went well for you doesn't mean it's going to go well for the other person. Now, when it comes to taking the 2.8 out and putting in the 4.0, the problem that you run into, well, if you pay attention, you can see what the problem is. A lot of people beat the firewall in, right? So that's not a very good idea to do that, because you're beating stuff in that shouldn't be beaten in, okay? But a lot of people actually cut the cradle, the radiator cradle, and extend that out. So you need the newer hood. You need the 4.0 hood and all that lovely stuff, the whole front end, and you need to put it on there. Now, there's other people that said they did the swap and everything went fine. But then it comes down to your wiring, your computer, the transmission. So you're better off, in my opinion, if you want a Jeep with a 4.0 in it, just go find a Jeep with a 4.0 in it. That's all I can tell you, because it's going to be a lot easier that way. I promise you, it'll save you the headache. You can go look on forums online how much work it is to take the 2.8 out and put the 4.0 in. It's just a hassle, okay? It's not worth it. You can, by the time you're done with the labor and the parts that you got in it, you could probably buy a 4.0, a Jeep 4.0, the whole Jeep, and just fix it up and drive it, right? Now, what I do recommend is jerking that 2.8 out and putting a 4.3 in there. Yes, a 4.3. You could actually put a 4.3 in there, take all the stuff out, even the transmissions. I've heard of people putting 5-speed 4.3 transmissions in Jeep Cherokees. Anything can be done in your backyard. But from what I understand, I don't see very many videos on it. But you can put a 4.3, and it's pretty straightforward, because the 2.8 is GM, and they use GM stuff. So like the wiring and all that. So if you get the right error 4.3, this is just from information that I've scooped up. I don't know for sure. From what I understand, if you get the right error 4.3 and drop in there, things will almost plug and play. Things will almost work out perfectly for you. You might have to do a little modification, but from what I understand, the 4.3 swap is a lot easier than the 4.0 swap. So if you have any information on that, if you know anybody has done the 4.3 swap, jerk the 2.8 out and put the 4.3 in, I would love to have information on that so I can put it in the logbooks, because I don't have very many people that it's claimed to done it. I don't know, I always see on forums, but never see proof. I don't like theories. I hate talking about this because, like I said, I don't know for sure. But from what I understand, the 4.0 swap, or the 4.3 swap, is a lot easier than the 4.0. Now, if you're wanting to put a V8, like an LS V8, into your Jeep XJ, you can get on, I think it's like Novak. I think that's the name of the site. And there's a whole guide on what you actually need. You can scroll through there. I'll leave the link in the description below, just in case you want to do a V8 swap, because V8 swaps are common in YJs and Wranglers and all that stuff, right? But you never really see V8 swaps in Cherokees, just because of that reason, because it's a little bit harder to work with, but it can be done. There was a guy, I don't know if you guys know where Wallace, West Virginia is. There was a guy that actually did a small block 350 Chevy engine. He built it up and he stuck it down in the XJ. A carbureted motor is really easy to put in anything, honestly. You can get like the 4-speed or the 5-speed transmission that bolts up to the 350 and modify it and make it work on the Jeep Cherokee, and get a dry shaft made and all that stuff. Use a transfer case. You can make that stuff work. That stuff's pretty straightforward. I could do that in my backyard, right? Get these things done. But like I said, when it comes to the 2.8 swap, you're looking into a lot of work, in my opinion. It's not worth it to me. If you got to have a 4.0 that bad, yeah, it might be worth it to you, because the 2.8s are junk. They are powerless. They are junk. I know a lot of people are like, oh, I love mine, but they're junk. And from what I understand, some of them have different bell housings, so the transmission that's already in the Jeep hanging won't bolt up to the 4.0. Like I said, I don't really know for sure on that information. That's just some of the stuff that I've dug up, out of the coffin, and I don't hear of many people doing 2.8s. Jerking them out and putting a 4.0 in, because the 2.8 Jeep Cherokees, they're starting to fade away. You don't see very many of them around. The last one I seen was about 3 years ago. It was on 35, and it was lifted really high, cut out. The body was mint. It had no power. It was junk, and it wobbled going down the road. Guy wanted like $2,500 for it. I was about to buy it till I popped the hood and seen it had a 2.8 in it. And I remember going home that day and looking online to swap the 4.0 because I had all those Jeeps. Still have them. I have all those motors, the transmissions. I got the 5-speed transmission. So I was like, oh, this is going to be easy swap. Then I started looking into it, and it's not such an easy swap. Well, it's an easy swap, but it's not worth it to me. Let's just put it that way. It's not worth me jerking out a 2.8 and putting a 4.0 in. I would take my time and my money elsewhere and just go buy a Jeep 4.0, right? It's just not worth it to me. There's just so many problems that you run into, and it's just like a different animal. You know, those were a different animal to begin with. And people's like, you don't have any facts about the 4.0 not being in the Cherokee and all this stuff. Well, if you look back and look how the 2.8 was in there, the front end, from what I understand, is like an inch or two shorter, right? And that's why I say the 4.0 wasn't designed to go in the Cherokee. So I think they had to extend the front end a little bit to make the 4.0 fit. Now, like I said, it's just certain years that the front end looks stubbier. I think we measured it one time, not sure, or something like that. Somehow we figured out like the front end was shorter or something like that. I can't remember correctly how we got that, but I'm pretty sure the old ones with the 2.8s have a shorter front end. If I'm wrong, correct me. Like I said, I'm not really educated on those years, the 2.8 years, the Renix years, the 4.0 Renix years. I'm not educated on those because I stayed away from those years. My favorite years was the 92s to 94s. That was my favorite years. The best Jeeps, in my opinion, yet today. You can still find great ones around, but like I said, a lot of them are just rusted out anymore because people take them off-road, people take them trail riding. You know, people use them and abuse them, and that's what they're for. There were over like 2 million of these things made, so they're just fun to cut up, beat up, tear up, blow up, if you can, rigs. And that's why a lot of people love it. The aftermarket world is endless for them. You can buy anything you want. If you have a welder and a grinder, you can do anything you want. You can put any rear ends under them. I've seen people put Ford rear ends, you know, anything they can get a hold of under these Jeep Cherokees. So the sky is the limit when it comes to these. So if you have a Jeep Cherokee and you want to swap a 4.0 and take the 2.8 out and throw it in the garbage, if I was you, I think I would just run the 2.8 until there was nothing left, and then just find me a 4.0 Cherokee and drive it. That's just my opinion. I want you guys to leave your comments below and ask some questions that you want some answers to, or maybe give me opinions, or you can ask anything you want. It's going to be the next live show that I'm going to do is going to be a Q&A. So I really didn't. I'm not going to answer the comments on this one, but if you leave your comments below the next live show, I will be answering the comments off of this video. So hope you guys enjoyed this video today. I want to wish you guys a Merry Christmas. I hope you have a great weekend. I hope you have a great Christmas, and I hope you guys have a great New Year. And make sure you're out there staying dirty this weekend. Go out there and hit the trails. And I'm Cherokee Ronnie, and stay dirty, my friends.